Good afternoon. My name is Cameron Berg. I served as the student body president for this past school year. To the families, friends, educators, community members, and younger siblings who are already asking how much longer, welcome and thank you for not only being here with us today, but being there for us every day prior, nurturing, encouraging, and supporting the incredible group of students you see before you. Every class graduates, but not every class graduates with such stunning credentials, depth of character, and impressive maturity. For this, the class of 2018 should be immeasurably proud, and I'm humbled to have grown close to such a group of dynamic and driven young adults. Many of my peers and I plan to spend the next period of our lives in an environment tailored to two things. One, the construction of a meaningful identity, and two, the pursuit of knowledge and information and skills. Both of these valuable quests require something fundamental that I worry isn't emphasized nearly enough: an understanding and appreciation of truth. It seems to me that the concept of truth has been obscured in virtually every cultural context worth caring about. If we lose sight of it entirely, there may be no undo button for us to push. The word truth, as we all know, refers to any idea that's in agreement with reality. And because truth refers to reality, a place in which we are all hopefully spending at least most of our time, to say things like your truth or my truth is to make a mockery of the concept. The whole point of truth is that it is not personalizable. What 2 + 2 equals doesn't change based upon who is answering. Being true to yourself means acting on real facts about your personality, your ambitions, and your values. This is extraordinarily important. But playing language games like my truth mean living in your very own, custom-fitted, alternate reality where various 2 + 2s get to make 5 whenever a 4 proves inconvenient or uncomfortable. This is not being true to yourself. This is being true to nothing. This latter approach is taken all too often, and it would serve us well to avoid it. Why? I think it's obvious that everyone who is indifferent to truth is doing so at his or her own expense, and it's important to understand why. So imagine for a moment that instead of receiving a diploma today, our administrators passed out to each student a unique, bulleted list of 10 truths that each student was, at that moment, compelled to integrate into his or her life. So it may go something like this. Truth number 1, an effective way to keep friends is to take a genuine interest in them. Truth number 2, if your salary surpasses roughly $75,000 a year, more money will not necessarily bring you more happiness, and so on. Now, imagine that before our ceremony today, Dr. O'Donnell was in a particularly devious mood. And for all the students who smashed their watermelons the day of our senior prank, he made some minor revisions. Truth number 1, an effective way to keep friends is to frequently offer to share your toothbrush. Truth number 2, asking your boss to pay you directly in livestock will increase your lifespan twice-fold, and so on. If we again imagine that these students were somehow compelled to live by these truths, it would be unsurprising that the students who were granted the more accurate list would lead more fulfilling, more coherent, more enjoyable lives, due in part to their cleaner teeth and lack of cows. Though this imaginative exercise is less than plausible, the powerful correlation between a good life and a life aligned with truth is very real. The inverse claim is equally true. The more you allow yourself to be deceived, the more you deceive others, and the more you deceive yourself, the worse your life is going to be. We're about to enter a world, however, with no shortage of opportunities for ignoring every word I've just said. News feeds are curated to hold users hostage to their own biases and desires. Political discourse has collapsed into vicious, childish bickering, burying truth deep under the rubble. Even on some college campuses, attempting honest communication about emotionally saturated ideas may engender witch hunts and castigation that render the entire truth-seeking process untenable. Our generation must be the one to reverse these troubling trends and leave these institutions in better shape than we find them today. And to this end, I have faith that the brilliance, creativity, tenacity, and compassion of my peers are forces to be reckoned with. Class of 2018, make friends next year who value honest communication, and be skeptical of those whose personalities change by the day. Defend free expression unapologetically, and never decide what's true based on what does or does not offend you. Be skeptical without being cynical. Be charitable without being naive. I consider myself impossibly lucky to have spent the past 18 years in a place like this with people like you. My friends, lean into truth, not away from it, and watch where it takes you. Thank you.
It is both my honor and privilege to announce the co-valedictorians of the Wilton High School class of 2018. Both of these students have maintained a 4.0 grade point average while taking a rigorous course load. Our first co-valedictorian is a well-rounded young lady who has been a tremendous asset to our school and community. She enjoyed taking math and science courses, especially her chemistry class, because she found the topics to be intellectually stimulating and loved her teacher. She is described by her teachers and school counselor as a courageous and hardworking student who strives for success in any task that she puts her mind to. She has a natural sense of curiosity around concepts that challenge her and take her out of her comfort zone. AP Biology and Chemistry are two of the classes she described as having challenged her the most. She is never afraid to ask questions. Her family and the time they spend together every summer in Ohio is very important to her in maintaining balance in her life. Outside of the classroom, she is a very dedicated student athlete who has enjoyed coaching youth basketball and was also one of the captains of our field hockey team. She has dedicated a tremendous amount of time to this sport and her teammates, for whom she cares for deeply. Her teammates describe her as kind and someone who always does the right thing for her team. This fall, she will be attending Amherst College, where she will be a member of the field hockey team and plans to study neuroscience. It is my pleasure to introduce co-valedictorian Sophia Caplan.
Welcome, everyone, and congratulations to the class of 2018. I am honored to be standing here alongside my co-valedictorian, Michael. Today, I wanted to begin my speech with a definition. According to the Oxford Dictionary, the word failure simply means the lack of success. And yes, this may not be the most motivational start to a speech, but everybody here today, myself included, has at some point in their life experienced failure. Over these past 4 years, I have failed a multitude of times. Once at a track meet, when I was hurdling, I didn't fall jumping over a hurdle, but I actually fell while running in between two hurdles, which was pretty embarrassing. Some would say this particular failure is no different than a child running away from an oncoming water balloon only to fall into a pool. On a more academic note, I once accidentally skipped an entire section on the PSAT, and my mom was not too thrilled with me that night. This list could go on, but these failures did not deter my determination to excel. In fact, each failure motivated me to work even harder. Growing up in Wilton, we may have sometimes found ourselves aiming for perfection and fearing defeat. But If failure is unavoidable, why worry about it? Whenever I would get stressed or nervous about anything, my family would always provide me with some reassurance, saying that if I had tried my best, that was all I could do. In the moment, this little tidbit of inspiration never eased my anxiety, but as I reflect back on it now, I see the truth in it. We cannot change our failures of the past, and we cannot control what happens in the future. We can only control how hard we work in the moment. That is why we need to focus on what's important now. During field hockey season of my sophomore year, my coach came up with an idea. She wanted us to tape the letters W-I-N on our field hockey sticks. At first, I thought our only motivation behind these letters was plain and simple, to win. But what win really stood for was what's important now. My coach, like everyone here today, realized that failure is inescapable. She wanted us to be able to make a mistake, look down at the W-I-N on our sticks, and be able to move on from it, as past failures are not important now. I would like to thank her for teaching me that failure is okay. I would like to thank my family, as they have been there for me from my first day of preschool to my last day of senior year. I would like to thank my teachers, classmates, and especially my friends for putting up with me and making these past 4 years truly special. I would like to thank Ms. Tansman for her understanding and support when I would ask her 30 questions 10 minutes before a test. I would like to thank Mr. Lucy for helping me laugh my way through the not-so-humorous subject of chemistry. I would also like to thank Ms. Stedham for teaching me every single thing there is to know about biology. I think we, the class of 2018, can agree that these past 4 years have been exceptionally memorable, thanks to the entire Wilton High School community. They have allowed us to unify during pep rallies, create memories, and even share school spirit while cheering on teams during FCIAC and state finals. So, we, the class of 2018, would like to thank Dr. O'Donnell, Dr. Smith, Mr. McDougall, and all of the Wilton High School administration for shaping and preparing every single one of us for the journeys that lie ahead. We should also recognize the many opportunities we have been afforded in this wonderful community. It is these opportunities that will allow us to have the proper foundation for our futures. As we end our careers here at Wilton High School and delve into the future, whether it be college, the military, or the workforce, we need to use our past mistakes to motivate us to achieve our goals. So, I would like to leave everyone here with one final quote from Winston Churchill. "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Congratulations, class of 2018.
Our other co-valedictorian is a young man. He is a true gift to our school and community. His school counselor describes him as an exceptional young man who has achieved success in all areas of his life. He is very interested in the classics, including government and history, and loves the outdoors, where he camps with his friends every summer in the Adirondacks. He has a thirst for knowledge that has driven him to pursue a rich and diverse curriculum while continuing to challenge himself. He seeks to help others at school through his work as a National Honor Society tutor, co-vice president of the student body, co-captain of the cross-country team, co-captain of the debate team, and vice president of both National Honor Society and the Spanish Honor Society. His impact has gone beyond Wilton High School as well. As a sophomore, he took it upon himself to introduce the idea for a pilot program to initiate a junior debate team at Middlebrook by seeking an advisor for the program and volunteering to work with the students to hone their debate skills. He was one of 30 students in the state selected as a governor's scholar as a junior for his academic achievements, and was also named as a semifinalist in the 2018 National Merit Scholarship Program. Above and beyond all of these achievements, he is one of the most humble and kind students I have had the privilege of knowing in my 12 years as an educator. This fall, he will be attending Harvard University, where he plans to study government. It is my pleasure to introduce to you co-valedictorian Michael Wallace.
Thank you, Ms. Korn, for that introduction. I'm truly honored to be here today, and good afternoon to everyone, and congratulations once again to the class of 2018. Today is truly an incredible day for all of us, even if the weather is not, and I am very proud to be speaking to you today under these beautiful vaulted ceilings of the field house. I wish it could have been clear blue skies, but now, as we prepare to graduate today, I think we should take a little bit of time to consider our futures. At some point in the past year, we've probably all had at least one adult ask us the same important, daunting question. No, not where are you going to college, but what would you like to do after college? And while I have some ideas, I still haven't found the perfect answer to that question. And I should never have to, because let's face it, things will change. Situations will change, circumstances will change. It's difficult to decide what I'll do tomorrow, let alone 5, 10, 25 years down the line. Our own experiences at Wilton High School have affirmed that old saying that the only constant in life is change. In the past 4 years alone, we've gone from frightened freshmen pouring off of school buses to overly confident seniors absolutely demolishing watermelons in the senior lot. The world we inhabit beyond college will undoubtedly bear little resemblance to the one we graduate in today. Today's world is an uncertain one. All of the rules seem to have been thrown out the window. But in a constantly changing world, what allows us to succeed and to achieve great things isn't our ability to stick to a plan or follow a dream. Rather, it's our optimism and our flexibility, our knack for doing what others say we can't. We have the optimism and the courage to insist that the world can and should be better. We have shown in just the past year that we have the audacity to confront those in power and demand that they accept change. We recognize that change and progress will come, and our time together at Wilton High School has prepared us to embrace that change and to celebrate the new opportunities that come with it. Class of 2018, our dreams will change, just as the rest of the world will, and that's okay. Our dreams will change because we'll encounter newer, more ambitious dreams to follow. And our priorities will change too, but that's okay as well. When I was 5 years old, I wanted to be an astronaut. And then I saw the movie Apollo 13 and, well, things changed. Even in the space of a few years at Wilton High School, many of our dreams have changed dramatically. So I know that the dreams we have today will not be the same dreams we have 10 years from now. And that is something to be embraced. The changes we experience will propel us to successes and achievements we probably wouldn't think possible today. What matters most is not how well we stick to our dreams. It's the very fact that we have dreams that allows us to chase success, to achieve great things, and to adapt when new opportunities arise. So, class of 2018, expect to encounter changes in life. In fact, don't just expect them, cause them. As George Bernard Shaw wrote, progress is impossible without change. So feel free to change your mind. Strive to do and to create things that you can't even imagine today. Pursue what others say is impossible and reinvent your own standards for success. Challenge your own ideas, trust in your abilities, and have the courage to laugh at your own inevitable mistakes. I'm certain that we will all find success, because after all, we're Wilton Warriors. We can accept a little bit of change. Thank you, good luck, and congratulations to everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Addie Sansman, and I'm the Vice President of the Class of 2018. I am so unbelievably proud to be introducing our graduation speaker this year. He has worked at the high school for 14 years and has been a wonderful mentor to a number of students in our class, myself included. He is always there to give advice, to help us de-stress, to keep us on track with our classes, and if we ever want some free candy. He is a caring, kind, wonderful man who puts others before himself always. He has never failed to put a smile on my face each and every time I have met with him. Our graduation speaker has worked with the majority of our grade, whether it be because you were lucky enough to have him on your schedule freshman or sophomore year, or because you are part of one of the many clubs he supervises, including Peervention, Buon Amico, Socks for Soldiers, Unified Sports, Kids on the Block, and St. Baldrick's. Words do not do justice for the amount of time and effort this man has put into not just his own students, but our class and our school. He goes above and beyond the classroom always. When my mother was diagnosed with cancer at the beginning of my junior year, she had to have surgery and was in the hospital for 4 days. Every single day that she was there, this man sent her a card wishing her a fast recovery. He also sent me a card and told me to visit him at any point throughout the day if I wanted to talk, have candy, or just take a break from my classes. He is so unbelievably generous and thoughtful, and our entire school is lucky to have him as a mentor to us. In terms of qualifications, our graduation speaker has a 6-year degree in school counseling. He is a psychologist and a private counselor who used to have a practice. Besides being a guidance counselor at Wilton High School, he has worked in Bethel and Southbury. He has also taught alternative education, math, science, and English. He is a highly qualified, intelligent man who betters the lives of every student he works with. He does not accept mediocrity and encourages all of his students to live up to their full potential. I was lucky enough to have him as my guidance counselor from my sophomore year until now. I am honored to ask you all to welcome our commencement speaker for the class of 2018, Mr. Dan Pompa.
Wow, okay. Thank you. Well, I too thought the word change was really important. And as you can hear from that, I did a lot of change. And you'll hear some of my changes in my life in the next few minutes. When you think of the word change, I want you to think real deep about that word change, to open yourself up to it now and to your whole life, to be accepting of that word change, to be brave, and to realize that you are not alone when change enters your world. Our worlds are always changing, and tonight is the beginning of a very significant change for all of us here, not just for the graduates. This impact will vary with each and every one of us as we watch those tassels move from one side of the cap to the other. There will be change for each of us. It will be spiritual, it might be physical, but our words will definitely change. Scientifically, we know it will happen. Emotionally, we know it will be true too. The ripple effect will be amazing, and it'll be quick, with a simple congratulations, a hug, a quiet goodbye, and then our worlds will be different forever. Well, change itself has even placed me on this podium tonight. What echoes strong for me are the words of Rosabeth Moss Cantor, who said, "Change is disturbing when it is done to us, and then exhilarating when it is done by us." And in my life, I've watched, felt, and reacted to the impact of both, which in turn has led me to often express my thoughts to those who are willing to listen, and then yet to those who aren't. Being an only child in a very large Italian family, I had to talk a lot. So I thank you for this opportunity to speak today and share, I promise briefly, some Pompa thoughts. Change brought each of us to where our lives exist at this very moment. It shapes us. Sometimes it controls us, while in other moments we actually lead the way. Change can be good and engulf us in warmth and comfort, like the birth of Abigail Rose, my granddaughter, last week. And there will be plenty of pictures for you all to see after this. And then sometimes change brings sadness or pain, as in the 16 deaths that crossed my path last year. How one reacts or takes charge of our lives while experiencing these changes makes all the difference in our next steps. So class of 2018, recall how many changes in your lives, schools, friends, families have shaped you. Think how you controlled some of those changes. Try to focus on where you would like to move next in your lives and what you might need to do in order to reach your goals. But don't forget where you've been and all those joyous memories, large ones, small ones, that may have impacted you. And take a moment at some point to assess and acknowledge those influences on your lives. From the very beginning of my life, I've been influenced by a family impacted by the experiences of crossing an ocean and then sharing the cultural differences they had in a new world. Change molded my education as I progressed through 7 different grade schools. None were my choice. However, I often had the guidance of a trusted teacher, such as Mary Fisher Curtis, who many of you have heard me talk about, who during my senior year somehow took away my dreams of becoming an architect after finding something in me and then gently moving me towards becoming an educator, all the time insisting that I find my voice and experience in all the opportunities around me, being sure that I recognize the changes within me, as well as forcing me to use my own power to make decisions. And I hope that's something that I instill in others in my role here at Wilton High School and all interactions I have with others in my life. And although at that time in high school, finances and circumstances limited my options, Mary, dear Mary, along with Theodore Roosevelt, in spite of my age, I did not know him personally, reminded me of the following philosophy: do what you can with what you have where you are. And so I made changes in my life senior year, and I took $1,500 and I went to college. Luckily, years later, I got the opportunity to say thank you to Mary Fisher for her positive impact on my life. So that one thing that Mary saw in me changed my life and moved me in a whole different direction. And I left bricks and stone masonry behind and house design behind. And I focused on working with people, and probably a very healthy career move for me, as all of you have noticed over the years with the different stones I've dropped on me and the crutches and the injuries, and in the last few weeks with my walking around with braces on both my legs. Although my career path changed, I'm not sure if Thoreau was absolutely correct when he said, "Things do not change, that we change." For I really hope that no matter what external changes you make in your lives, that deep within our souls, we remain aware of the people around us, that we take time to acknowledge each other, that we actually listen to each other, that we smile, that we remember to say thank you often, that we slow down and observe and support the natural environment that supports us, and that we just don't foolishly toss around words such as, "I care," or "I'm thinking of you," or "I love you." Members of the class of 2018, I thank you for allowing me to be a part of your lives, whether it was greeting you in the jungle or at my spot on the railing, sharing food with you in my office or during free bake sales, talking about my Wrangler, and I know I go on and on about my Wrangler, or my shattered leg stories, or, oh yeah, sometimes I gave you some guidance advice, and especially for the time here tonight. I hope that you recognize the power within each of you and how a simple, kind gesture can change a person's life, and while you're doing that, it will also change your own. And remember that Lawrence and Kazel Maher were once inspired by an old poem, and that's all it says, some old poem. And they wrote another one titled You, where they reminded us that we are all needed, that we are all unique, and that we all can make a difference in each other's lives. So my wish for you is simple. Try to be patient as you find your voice, take charge of your lives, and thrive amidst all those changes, the ones that you create and the ones that await you around every turn in your lives. Best always, goodbye.
In our hearts a hope Good afternoon, students, staff, parents, community members, Dr. Smith, and members of the Board of Education. It is with the highest honor that I embrace this opportunity to address this outstanding Wilton High School graduating class of 2018. Graduates, in this speech, my purpose is twofold. I want to pay tribute to your great class and your deep warrior pride. Secondly, I want to portray for those in attendance what it's been like to work with you, support you, and learn from you during these past 4 years. Yesterday, before our graduation rehearsal, I asked you what you were proud of as a class. What constitutes your deep warrior pride? You were extremely proud that you had written and directed your own senior show, Scamilton, which was an unprecedented accomplishment in our school and one that united you further as a class. You expressed that you were proud of your leadership with Link Crew and the positive input that your leadership had had on our school. You also expressed pride in your organized walkout against school violence on March 14th, when many of you took a stand on an issue that was important to you and your peers. My warrior pride sentiments were similar to yours in that you were the first class to have a significant contingent trained as Link Crew leaders. You set a new tone in our school and a climate that led staff to consistently compliment you on your actions. For your efforts, you were awarded the Robert Jacobs Award for leaving your mark on your high school. Graduates, think back on the first day of school when so many of you were there, dressed in tie-dyes to welcome the freshman class of 2022 to our school. These underclassmen will never forget this experience that you created for them, and you memorialized it on the first pages of your yearbook entitled Journey. Your teachers also expressed their warrior pride in your accomplishments. You are a gifted class with a strong academic profile. You've engaged in deep inquiry, demonstrated intervention, and creatively expressed your individual talents. Your teachers noted your diligence, engagement, and your commitment to learning. They described you as genuinely caring as you engaged in co-curriculars and in community service. They felt that you did not simply engage in these activities to pad your resume, but rather because you were altruistic. One teacher remarked that you were conscientious in school and you kept the second floor hallways clean. I trust that your parents would say the same thing about your bedrooms at home. Graduates, it seems to me that you have been so diligent and compliant that we should expect all 320 of you to be in full attendance next week during our last 3 days of school. As the days of your physical presence in school waned before internship, you tested your mettle a little bit. Perfect angels, you were not. On the day of your senior prank, you set up camp on the second floor, literally, with tents. You walked around all morning with large watermelons in your possession. We kept wondering whether you were making some type of statement, or just trying to build your upper body strength, or just trying to stay H2O melon hydrated. Michael, Wallace, thank you for clarifying from that during your speech. I have been losing sleep for weeks wondering if we were going to find a stash of watermelons somewhere stashed in the school. Thank you, Michael. Very helpful. In the end, you assembled in the senior parking lot for a picnic during your lunch break, and you returned to class on time. It was a great way for you to bond, have some fun, and transition to your senior internships. Our staff appreciated your prank, and they described it as clever, well-intended, innocuous, and even cute. Speaking of staff and teachers, sitting to your side are some of the most outstanding teachers in the state and in our country. You have truly impressed and impacted them, as evidenced by their presence here on a rainy weekend day toward the end of a long school year. There can be only one reason why they're here today. They care. They care about you, your previous accomplishments, and all of your future endeavors. So graduates, on June 23rd, 2018, you find yourselves gathered together for the last time as an entire class. You have demonstrated exceptional solidarity with and for each other. You've all met or exceeded the magic number 23.5. 23.5 credits to graduate from Wilton High School. In doing so, you have all earned that cherished Wilton High School diploma. Recognize that this diploma carries with it a certain level of prestige. You are graduating from one of the highest-ranked high schools in our state and country, and this diploma creates access to colleges and universities, the United States military, and other post-secondary opportunities. However, you're all astute enough to realize that it is that which you create and accomplish with this diploma that now matters. With the requisite drive and determination, post-secondary achievement comes in many forms. Success at colleges and universities, excelling in the arts and sciences, learning the lessons of life through valuable travel, service projects to help those in need, and simply making good, lifelong friends. It is my hope that you enjoy and appreciate all of these opportunities in life. In closing, graduates, as you prepare to graduate, I sincerely want you to know that I, our faculty, Dr. Smith, and our Board of Education all express our deep warrior pride for your accomplishments during your Wilton High School years and for the contributions that you have made to our school and to our town of Wilton. You are truly an exceptional class that has left a very positive mark on our school, and for that, I thank you. Dr. Smith, I present to you the Wilton High School graduating class of 2018.
Good afternoon, class of 2018, parents, family members, esteemed colleagues, and honored guests. I have the distinct pleasure this evening of presenting the class of 2018 to our Board of Education, and it is my honor to do so. Class of 2018, in just a few moments, all that you have experienced, all that you have accomplished, all that you have felt during your tenure as Wilton High School students will be passed. So we ask, how is it that when we most want time to fly, it seems to stand still? And in those moments when we want time to stop, it evaporates. How is it that the 2 million or so minutes you have spent as Wilton High School students have come so quickly to conclusion? In the words of Dr. Seuss, how did it get so late so soon? I love these transition moments in life because they naturally afford us the opportunity to look back and look ahead. In keeping with that, I was struck by this year's yearbook theme, Journey, and as it read on the cover, Our Journey. I'd like to quote from your yearbook editors. Life is a journey. There may not be a clear destination, but it is the path of travel that matters the most. Not every pit stop is perfect, but the entirety of them creates a meaningful illustration of who we are. As I was contemplating this, I was reminded of a story and set of lessons that I'd like to share for your consideration as you take this opportunity to pause and reflect on your own journey. Class of 2018, I believe your yearbook editors got it right by emphasizing not only the path of travel, but that the journey is shared with others, and indeed, it is those with whom you travel that make the journey worthwhile. And when you hit those inevitable potholes in life and have to change a tire or two, it will be through your relationships that flat tires are mended and you derive the will and fortitude to continue on. So as you journey, and that journey gets tough, take the opportunity to pull over, to glance out the sunroof, and observe the geese. That's right, the geese. They are truly extraordinary and can offer several lessons to guide us through this voyage. As Dr. Robert McNeish first observed in his Lessons from the Geese, he writes, "Next fall, when you look to the sky and see the geese heading south for winter, stop for a moment and observe. Notice they fly in a V formation. Recognize that this is intentional. As each goose flaps its wings, it creates an uplift for the bird following. By flying in a V formation, the whole flock adds 71% more flying range than if each bird flew alone." So what's the lesson? In this life, travel with people who share a common direction and sense of community. Doing so will get you where you want to go faster and easier because you'll travel on the thrust of others. Whenever a goose falls out of formation, it suddenly feels the drag and resistance of trying to fly alone, and quickly gets back into formation to take advantage of the lifting power of the bird immediately in front. So, find your flock. They will help sustain you along the way. When the lead goose gets tired, it rotates back into the formation, and another goose takes over the point position. Hence, work well with others. Interdependence and shared leadership make the hard tasks easier. When flying in formation, the geese honk from behind to encourage those up front to keep up their speed. What does that mean? Celebrate others' efforts. Encouraging words go a long way, especially at those times when the journey is hard. When a goose gets sick or wounded, two geese drop out of formation and follow their fellow member down to help provide protection. They stay with this member of the flock until it's able to fly again. Then they launch out on their own with another formation or catch up with their flock. So what can we learn? Stand by each other in difficult times. It's easy to be part of a winning team, but it's when times get tough that you'll be needed the most. And last, when geese travel, their migration routes never vary. Even when members change, the flock returns to the same nesting grounds. The final lesson from the geese: stay true to your core values and beliefs. Even when buffeted by the strongest of winds, they will guide you home. So these are the lessons of the geese. As you fly or drive or walk or run on this next leg of your journey, go forth bearing them in mind and knowing you are equipped and ready to begin. Know that your teachers, your families, and your community all have great hope in you, have great faith in you, and have great confidence in you. Know that as you go, you have made the people who remain immensely proud. And know that Wilton will always be your nesting ground. On that note, it is with great pleasure that I now present to our Board of Education, you, the class of 2018. Madam Chairman, members of the Board of Education, I present to you the class of 2018. They are truly an outstanding group who have achieved countless accomplishments and represent Wilton exceptionally well.
My sincerest congratulations to the class of 2018. And congratulations also to your parents and family members who have been such an important part of your accomplishments. Graduation day in Wilton. It's a special day, and the whole town seems to be smiling, right? Even on a gray, dreary day like today, you can just sort of feel it in the air, a sense of excitement and a sense of pride. Because Wilton is that sort of town. It's truly a place where people know and care about each other and wish them well. As you finish this chapter in your lives, the end of your schooling here in Wilton, I hope you know that you will always have this special town to come back to, a place that will always have your back. A few years ago, I went to visit my daughter in her college in the Midwest. I was in her dorm and noticed that hanging on the wall was a framed outline of a map of Connecticut with a heart down in the corner, right where Wilton would go. Now, my daughter was born and raised in Wilton and a good Wilton warrior and a Scoops employee, but she was definitely ready to leave when the time came. So when I saw the wall hanging, I asked her about it, and she said, "Mom, Wilton is my home." And that has stayed with me. Wilton is your home. I was reminded of this again a couple of weeks ago when I had the pleasure of attending the induction of the Wilton High School, of 3 Wilton High School graduates into our newly launched Hall of Fame. One of these graduates is Christine Lilly, a 3-time Olympian and one of the most successful female athletes in U.S. history. Another, Mr. Donald Verrilli, who has a nephew graduating today, was Solicitor General in the Obama administration. If you don't know what that is, he essentially represented the president in front of the Supreme Court, and Mr. Verrilli did that quite successfully. Both Mr. Verrilli and Ms. Lilly, who have been honored on national and international platforms and really celebrated for their accomplishments, traveled back to Wilton for our little induction ceremony. I asked why it was so important for them to attend. Each had essentially the same answer: Wilton is still home. That is what I'd like to leave you with today. Whether or not you pack your Wilton Warrior sweats or fleece, when you embark on your next chapter, you will carry Wilton with you. Wherever you go, whatever you do, and whoever you meet, Wilton will always be your home. This small town in Connecticut, where you started your journey, will always be your biggest fan and will always be here when you need to recharge. So on behalf of the Board of Education, our sincere congratulations to you on this special day. Thank you.
3, 2, 1.
Cameron Berg. Johnny Maggio.
Michael David Wallace.
Addie Tansman.
Eve Ogden.
Matthew James Dormer.
Brendan John Skewis.
Timothy C. Foley.
Jason Welch.
Matthew Lloyd Gressel. Connor Zarilla. Jason Kai.
Charles Samuel Lee. Albert Way. Michael Patrick McElroy. Emily McCann. Eleanor Hoke.
Benjamin James Schmidt.
Amanda Jane Perry.
Kazuma Nobumoto.
Christopher Chabrier. Mia Ann Rufinak.
Emily Ann Ferenz.
Madeline Lorraine Tupper. Rachel Boll. Tyler Jacob Bluestein. James Lyon Martin. Nicole Case. Daniela Marielle Chavez. Emily Catherine Tully. Anna Maria Honorud. Catherine Beatrice Jankowski.
Caroline Elizabeth Deneen.
Rachel Marie Straza.
Jamie Rose Feidner. Ella Grace Kinnersley. Anne Elise Beneventano.
Natalia Jankowski. Brian Joseph Casey.
Devin Elizabeth Moore. Catherine Ann Reed. Anna Elizabeth Kokoris.
Lauren Grace Robertson.
Julia Bonist. Emma Gloria Rosen. Maria Salduti. Morgan Sienna Nadal.
Johanna Kathleen Greep. Kaylin Marie Gunzi. Matthew Daniel Villa. Evan James Carpenter. Alexa Nichols. Elizabeth Grace Costello.
Leela Ann Conway. Isabella Rose Began.
Alexa Renee Hearn.
Claire Elizabeth Gulbin. Kennedy Ann Snyder. Jackson Dill.
Matthew Tucker. Malgorazada Booz.
Sophia Isabel Mercado. Jessica Elizabeth Hendry. Jenna Mackenzie Braymeyer. Kara Patricia Kilmartin. Adriana Adele Curtis. Jessica Esther Highland.
Lydia Claire Ward Hoffman.
Taylor Ann Burke.
Morgan Ann McCormick. Anastasia Olivia Colburn. Victoria Sewell. Maria Alonso Alvarez. Annette Rose Andronico. Brooke Bennett Kelly. Sarah Moran. Jessica Patrice Tambasco. Cameron Karen Sell. Kelsey Jane Loescher. Natalie Amanda Ivanov. Yelena Sarek Seifer.
Emily Bennett Walden. Erin Kelsey Sweeney. Ashley Hawthorne.
Kelly Ann Wang.
Abigail L. Reiber.
Claire Adelaide Healy. Alyssa Erin Murphy.
Francesca Ann Colley.
Manya Beatrice Jones.
Rebecca Chance Blair.
Emily Lillian Torkelson. Sophie Skylar Latig Roberts. Caroline Marie Wilson.
Allison Nadine Faraga.
Caitlin Williams Moody.
Lindsay Summer Gildersleeve.
Isabel Kazaragi.
Madeline Dupree Pagliara.
Haley Decker McHugh.
Alexandra Elise Curtin.
Michal Chava Nino. Megan Ann Cunningham.
Jeremy Plotkin Wong.
Marjorie McWilliams.
Delaney Fellows.
Rachel Jean Castaldi.
Emily Danielle Kesselman.
Shelby Elizabeth Connor.
Olivia Collender. Madeline LeBeau.
Catherine Alice Barber.
Hannah Quinn Carter.
Allison Frayne Wenman.
Margaret Cummins.
Amanda Smith.
Madison Parody.
Megan Marie Meyer.
Elizabeth Spone Wenman.
Lacey Ishan Eller.
Adriana Victoria Sudana.
Claire Helen Vokey. Samantha Jules Macalino.
Caroline Grace Hoffman. Lindsay Lee Cuxa.
Kaylee Grace McMorris. Caitlin Marie Cookso.
Luke F. Teradista. Nicholas Alexander Sylvia. Colin H. Tejan. Dylan M. Lafreri. Kyle Jonathan Saxon. Eric Chubinsky. Justin Peter Kelly. Ryan Christopher Soltis.
Vivian Rose Quinlan. Julia Orardi. Megan Isabel Lynch. Sydney Nicole Elia.
Ethan Julian Reichert.
James Killian Trentos. Kevin Lenahan.
Bradley Spewak. William O'Connell. Dominic Stephen Romeo. Patrick Murray Verrilli. Joel Darkwa. Sean Maljanian. Matthew Paul Visicio. John Arardi. Andre DaCosta.
Robert Frank Stanzioni III. Duncan T. Vogel. Zachary James O'Grady. Sean Bergen.
Steven Sandor.
Tyler William Smith.
Nicholas James Coopersmith. Dylan Edward Bayer. Seth Caleb Warren. Ryan Peterson. Kevin William Connolly. Richard Kingsley Deneen. Covadonga Perez Pelez. Elizabeth Ann Lynch.
Michael A. Cunningham. William E. Callan. Colleen Ann Graham. Julia Lee Ballantyne.
Mary Thomas. Ishani Shah.
Rithwik Shivram.
Jonah William Hirsch. Benjamin James Lucas. Joshua Bender. John Thomas Isidoro. Ryan Christopher Gabriel. Jake Lukasik Beshlin. Michael James Hughlin. Aiden Patrick Callahan. Liam C. DeFelice. Luke Daniel Maloney. Finn Michael Maloney. Theodore Corper. Trevor Lee Brown. Benjamin Tucker Fawcett. Cameron Thomas Morris. John Michael Amato. Alexander Pykos. Brandon Hawk. Henry Anderson Green. Ryan Keever Eddy. Andrew P. Noonan. Gaston Acosta Rua.
James William Sweeney.
Woo! Brendan Martin Quinlan. John Fung.
Julian Thomas Albert. Adrian Cole DeSimone. Cheng Yang. Alexander C. Kobsa. Domenico Zaccone. Matthew Robert Muniz. Shubham Ori.
Marcus Nathaniel Guevara. Toby Innes.
Jason Sia. Jacob Michael Oliver. Jake Hunter Florio.
Owen Clifton Lancaster IV. Alem Sabenovic.
PJ Vogrick. Richard Matthew Tomasetti, Jr.
Michael Rudolph Worley. Ricardo Alessandro Galati.
Riley James Sexton. Nicholas Philip Colazar.
Spencer Anderson Thors.
Jack V. Forgione.
Christopher Paul Sweeney. Alec M. Zaluka. Jack Lewis. Benjamin Michael Pelicano. Jack Paul Forrest Macklin. Matthew Christopher Morella. Andrew James Beecher. Thomas J. Garvey. Matthew Olson. Peter Alfred Delphius. John Fortuna IV.
Oliver George James Leslie Peacock. Nolan Grant Quinn. John C. Perry.
Maya Fazio. Monique Kern. Summer Lynn Raw. Emma Catherine Vale. Sophie Phelan.
Lily McDonald. Andrea Christina Benalcazar.
Lauren Ann Chiapetta. Grace Isabel Kirchhoff. Nicole Duraca.
Brenna Catherine McPhee. Erin Kennedy Delasanti. Isabella Francine Fox. Alexandra Bazaria.
Gabriella Marie Tomas. Katrin Marie Michelle.
Lauren Madeline Gardner. Allison Perry Danvers. Nicole Lavornia. Grace Eleanor Seward.
Isabel Grace Naja. Grace Elizabeth Kendra. Aaliyah O'Neill. Quincy Cole. Kelly Elizabeth Printer.
Sophia Kala Kammerman.
Catherine Athena Saltos. Madeline Ann O'Brien. Chloe Melanie Hornby. Carlisle Ann Latimer. Chloe Elizabeth Zimmerman. Emerson Claire McClintock. Eva Marie Greco. Olivia Marie Roman. Paisley Alexis Egan. Zoe Rich Lash.
Taylor Ray Floyd. Caroline Grace Sweeney. Emily Tyne. Sophia Ann Lee Caplan.
Julianne Ann Cooney. Mackenzie Melissa Cody. Kendall Elaine Milano. Elizabeth Ann Breslin. Emery Stevenson Goodwin. Victoria Jane Curley. Owen Scott McKessie.
Zachary Matthew Zayer. Samuel Pearson Wright. Benjamin Scott Teolis. Matthew Kervick Eriks. Liam Zakar Gainey.
Christopher J. Colbert. Kyle Matala.
John McKinlan Brown. Antonio Brancato. Will Patrick Sullivan.
Brian William Calabry. Finnegan Cole McGovern. Nicholas Anthony Rendy.
Evan Donald Hellman.
Natalie Eden Axel.
Christian Richard Haas. Norman Edgar Snyder III.
Robert Alexander Herman. Kyle Joseph Schifrin. Jack Thomas Donano. Joseph R. Murtha. Harvey Alexander. Ryan William McDermott.
Joseph Julian Scarfy. Daniel John Fitzgerald. Scott Patrick Cunningham. Tate Lynn Harmon.
Grace C. Keating.
Lydia Marie Manuel. Sophie Lauren Ackerman.
Emma Riley Westerholm.
Mary Statler Shea.
Paige Kylie Brown.
Molly Ward.
Alyssa Bavona.
Ella Grace Paulson.
Sophia Schmidt.
Emily Ann Underwood. Sibinandan Tiramal Kumaran.
Tor Anders Aronson.
Good evening. My name is Lizzie Lynch. I'm here to acknowledge one of my fellow classmates. 2 years ago, as I sat in the Wilton High School library, I was introduced to a boy that would not only change my life for the better, but the lives of so many others. From the moment he sat down next to me and greeted me with his contagious smile, I knew he was someone special. He is kind, funny, honest, and caring, but most importantly, he is the most passionate and brave person I have ever met. He has taught me and all those he has encountered that a fulfilling life is one in which we follow our hearts, chasing with full force our passions, dreams, and aspirations. He has never let the opinion of others deter him from his lifelong goal, to become a United States Marine. He has faced hardships and challenges that most of us cannot even begin to fathom. Yet he has never let these define him, and instead lives each and every day making those around him better. This is because he understands the fragility of life, but the power we each have to make the most out of our circumstances. This summer, he will be one step closer to achieving his dream as he attends boot camp this July. And although I'm so proud and lucky to call you my best friend, I truly cannot wait for the day in which we can all call you a United States Marine. I ask you, class of 2018, parents, relatives, and friends, to please honor and thank Seth Warren for his integrity, bravery, and selflessness as he embarks on this new journey, protecting and serving our country as a future United States Marine.
Hello, my name is Joe Murtha, and I am here to speak on behalf of one of my best friends here at Wilton High School who will be attending the Naval Academy. I met Brian Calabrese very early in my childhood, right when I moved here at around 5 years old. I had the privilege to grow up with him for the last 13 years and witness the honorable man he has become. Throughout football and lacrosse, we have created a bond that cannot be divided. Brian was the one guy you could look at and say, this kid will never let up, and this kid will always have my back in times of adversity. His ability to put a smile on someone's face is truly unmatched. Whether it's him making a weird noise in the back of the classroom or putting Kevin in Harvey's suitcase, his humor never fails to brighten up people's days. He is a friend to everyone he meets and doesn't hesitate to extend a helping hand. It is these attributes of doing everything with a purpose, his loyalty to friends and family, and doing everything in his life to the best of his ability that will lead him to become very successful at the Naval Academy and beyond. Brian is making one of the greatest sacrifices a human can make. There are many parts of his life that are important to him, but his own country is a high priority. I now ask for everyone here to please honor and thank Brian Calabrese for his future sacrifice and dedication to protect and serve the people of this great nation.
We now ask all those who have served to please stand so we can honor and thank you for your service.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael. This is Eve Ogden. I was the co-vice president of the exec board, and Eve was the secretary of our class, student government. This year, the class of 2018 gift comes in 3 parts. And through each of these parts, we hope as a student government to support and inspire future classes of Wilton High School students. To start off, our class has definitely been one of the most spirited in Wilton High School's history. We've worn the Warrior W with pride on the sports field and in the classroom. We've cheered on our teams to titles in baseball, basketball, and beyond. And we've drowned the school in blue and white during Spirit Week. Given our overwhelming Warrior pride, we thought it only fitting to give the school 3 flags displaying the Warrior W. These flags will be flown over Memorial Stadium, Lilly Field, and the corner of Catalpa and Lilly Way. We hope that they will give future Wilton High School students the same sense of Warrior pride that we have felt these past 4 years.
The class of 2018 would not be where it is, graduating today, without the support of countless individuals and resources, both in and outside of Wilton High School. Since freshman year, we have all flocked to the library during free periods to study and to work. Many days, crowding in this space makes it difficult to find a spot to sit, which certainly speaks to the scholarly drive of the entire student body. To remedy this, we have purchased new furniture for the library. We want all future warriors to have a comfortable place where they can collaborate with their peers and further their academic growth. Additionally, the class of 2018 would like to give back to 2 meaningful and valuable causes, the ABC program and the Sunshine Fund. The ABC program has served Wilton for 21 years, and we want to ensure that this excellence continues. Our donation will help the program cover a variety of expenses, allowing WHS to welcome more fine young men and women, all of whom are sure to be among the very best and brightest of their classes. The Sunshine Fund was established for teachers and staff at WHS as a means to recognize and to celebrate important events in the lives of their coworkers. From baby showers to wedding gifts, this fund once provided teachers with the network of love and support that they deserve. With our contribution, we plan to reinstate the Sunshine Fund to its original glory. On behalf of the class of 2018, I thank every teacher and staff member for your ongoing dedication to the success of every student. Our appreciation for you truly has no limit. Thank you.
Before I begin, I do have to make a quick logistical announcement. There will be a reception in the cafeteria following this, so please keep that in mind. So, at the end of last year's graduation ceremony, I left Tom Fujitani Field with 2 strong reactions. The first, unsurprisingly, was pride, because I was proud of who the class before us turned out to be, and proud of our school system that helped them get so far. The second reaction was curiosity, which was totally weird considering I just sat through what's supposed to be one of the most conclusive events of a person's life. I mean, what was left to wonder about? But then I asked myself one very important question that made the root of my curiosity quite clear. This time next year, how will I look back at my time in Wilton? And honestly, before the year even started, it was really easy to ask myself that question, so let's revisit that point in time. In late August, our senior class was hit with a few challenges. First, that seniors couldn't use outside photographers for their senior portrait. The second was that we had a new and very efficient system of choosing our lockers, and everyone's favorite, the problem that still exists today, the shortage of parking spots in the senior lot. So, needless to say, we were off to a pretty rough start. But what makes this class different is how we responded. Instead of lashing out, we refused to let the negatives take away from our positive attitude, and how we finished up is more than enough proof. In fact, let's take a minute to consider what this grade has been a part of just in our 4 years of high school. Future military servicemen and women, multiple students accepted to Ivy League colleges, National Merit Scholarship finalists, 37 college athletes, FCIAC and state championships, over $80,000 raised for the St. Baldrick's Foundation, future SNL members, some of the most talented improvisers the Little Theater stage has ever seen, award-winning orchestras, bands, and singers, young and local journalists, social and political activists, and countless incredible artists. And all of that is only a glimpse of what this class is leaving behind. And the best part about all those accomplishments is that it's only half of what you're celebrating here today. The other half of what you're celebrating can't be represented by a test grade or a trophy or performance. The other half is the impact you've had on each other. That impact started on the playgrounds of Miller Driscoll over 10 years ago and continued to when you were squaring off against your rival house in tug-of-war at Cider Mill. And that continued into all the dumb and immature laughs you and your friends had in middle school, like when you learned that the formal name for a piano player is really a pianist. See, it's still funny. That finally culminated with all the unforgettable moments, both good and bad, that you've endured through high school. By sharing these moments together and spending just about every day from September to June for the past 12 years together, you've created some of the most important and best relationships of your life. In doing so, you formed each other's perceptions of a world far greater than your own. From these perceptions come values, and from these values comes character. That strong, confident, thoughtful, and empathetic character you've developed, really the person you are today would not be the same without those precious memories you've made and people you've met along the way. Of course, the physical half of what you're celebrating today, all those awards and achievements, they're exciting, but they don't come close to the other half of what you're celebrating, which is the character you embody because of those friendships and relationships you've had since you were 6 years old. And because of that character, you now belong to a community that you will always be a part of no matter where you are in the world. And in a town where immense pressure and outside noise seeps through the walls of every classroom, you made it look easy. As much as this community has given you and helped you get here today, this community is also extremely proud of the impact and invaluable legacy you've left behind, and I hope you don't ever forget that. So at this graduation ceremony, I'm once again leaving with those two reactions of pride and curiosity I had before, but under far different circumstances. Because this time I'm proud of the class that we have become and the achievements we've left for future students, and I'm even more proud of the relationships we've formed with one another and how these have molded us into the promising, intelligent young men and women that we are entering the world as. And finally, I'm no longer curious about how this class will leave its legacy in Wilton High School, but how this class will leave its legacy on the world and those who live within it. So class of 2018, I now invite you to rise. Shift your tassels from the right to the left. Congratulations, you are officially graduating. Please exit accordingly to the cafeteria.